Hello guys and welcome to today's video. So I'm just going to be filming a Q&A. I asked on Instagram for some questions to film this video and I'm just going to pick I think like 20 of them just to keep this not crazy long, and then I'll just kind of hold on to the other questions and maybe use them in a get ready with me or something like that, just so I have some topics to talk about while I'm doing those. But basically, I'll put the pictures of the questions on the screen, and I'll also do timestamps down below so you guys can skip around to what you wanted to hear answered. Also, my comforter is in the wash right now, so I just have sheets on my bed. Juice took a bath last night and decided to run all over the comforter after he got out. So I threw it in the wash last night, so we're just rocking sheets for now. But anyways, okay, so I'm just gonna get started here. First question is, when do you think you'll start prep? So this is such a hot question. I got a lot of, are you gonna compete again? Yes, I absolutely am. Prep, I don't know. It's currently September 3rd. And I'm doing my mini cut. I have the Olympia in a week and a half, and then I'm going to Cabo in October. And I didn't want to be on prep for that trip. I think in like an all-inclusive resort, I'm not gonna be able to have the best gym access or food access. So I was like, I don't want to start prep immediately after Vegas. So I'm thinking maybe like November, December time, but I'm kind of just playing it by ear. I really don't want to force anything or like jump into it when I don't feel like I really want to yet. I'm still kind of just enjoying having a little bit more freedom and not feeling so tied into prep, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. There's a time and a place for like that mentality, and I just feel like I don't have it yet again. Next question, are you and Anthony going to get engaged soon? So we actually talked about this literally yesterday, I think, in the car, because a lot of our friends have been getting engaged and or getting married, and he was like, honestly, like, he's starting to feel a little bit of pressure to propose, which is so silly because we always talk about like, we have lived together for like 4 years now. Everything about us is like we're married. Nothing would change. Like, we already act like we're married. We've lived like we're married for years now. So the only thing that would change would be a ring and obviously like getting married, but we don't really want to do a big wedding or anything like that. So I'm in no rush. Of course, like, I want a ring, but honestly, it's not going to change much. So he was like, I just feel really pressured, but like, I want to wait until I can afford like a ring I really want to get you, instead of kind of just jumping into it quick and getting a cheaper ring, which I completely respect and understand. So I'm in no rush. He's not really in a rush. He's excited to do it, but we're going to wait until the time is right financially, and just, I don't know, it's just not really going to change much. So I feel like we're both kind of like, when it happens, it happens. It's not really like that big of a deal for us. How expensive is it to be in competitions, like total cost for prep and entrance? I am going to do a really rough breakdown and I'll probably be forgetting things, but so you'll have to pay for a coach for prep, which can range from $300 to like $600. I'm throwing random numbers out there, but it's at least a few hundred for a coach. A suit is a couple $100s at least. Shoes, like $50, jewelry, maybe $50 total. I don't know the registration fees. I want to say they're like around 100 something. And then the show fee is like around 100 something, I think. I feel like it depends, but then you have tanning, hair, makeup, actual show day stuff. Like, personally, I would say front to back, a rough estimate of like doing a show would be like $1,000, and that's just kind of like a very rough estimate because I don't really feel like adding things up. But like, in terms of like gym membership and your food that you're prepping and all of this stuff, supplements that you may take, like all of that, it all just adds up, and it's an expensive hobby, and it's definitely, I would say, like roughly $1,000. How do you feel about your off-season progress? So I actually feel really, really good with the progress that I made this off-season, mentally, physically, everything. I've definitely put on muscle. I've never been in such a good place mentally, I guess, and like with food. Like, I literally couldn't care less about food, which when you're in prep, you're so food focused and like everything is like, oh, I want that right now. But people keep asking me to do like cheat day videos and stuff, and like, I literally have no desire to. Like, I don't want to eat crap anymore. And I think it's just been like so long of eating a lot of food that I'm finally out of that craving things mode, and just like wanting to go ham. So I'm like really happy with the progress overall, front to back, of my off season, like my appearance, my mental state, all of that. I'm really happy and proud of how my off season went. And of course it was rough in the beginning, as it always is, but once everything started leveling out and all kind of coming together, I'm like couldn't really be more happy with it. So this was 2 questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years, and where do you see yourself like job-wise in 5 to 10 years? This is like the hardest question ever, because I literally take my life like day by day. But my life in 5 to 10 years, I want to have a house, probably start having kids, I don't know, be married to Anthony, be just so incredibly happy with where I'm at. If I do have kids, being able to just be a stay-at-home mom with them and watch them grow up and all of that. Like, I just really look forward to like that later point in my life, just kind of like settling down a bit more and just like having other people to take care of, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, I love having Juice now, and like having to take care of him, like I just really like being that person to someone, I guess. So I feel like kids, definitely marriage, house. We really want to look at houses out away from Denver, kind of more towards mountainy areas, and there's some really beautiful homes. So that would probably be a goal of mine. And career-wise, I don't know. Am I gonna still be doing YouTube? Am I gonna like be a family vlogger? Like, I have no freaking idea what the future holds. One of my big goals, and it's really like out there, and I haven't really done much effort into making this happen. I think I just feel like it's so far off that it's not going to happen, which is a really bad mentality. But something that I've always wanted, and I've talked about this a lot before, since the beginning of everything, before social media, I've always wanted to have a swimsuit line and be like a swimsuit designer and like do Miami Swim Week and all of that, like kind of almost like a Frankie's Bikinis type of thing. I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but that's something like I've always thought was like the coolest thing, is even just to like be at Miami Swim Week. Like, holy shit, that's a dream. So I don't know why swimsuits have always kind of been like something that I've wanted to do, but again, I haven't even looked into like how to go about that. But that would be a really big goal of mine. Anthony and I kind of want to start like a leash and collar company and do like percentages go to certain like charities and stuff like that for dogs and cats and animals and all of that. So that's kind of like a small little goal that we've been bouncing around that idea. But other than that, I feel like just continuing to grow as a human, grow my platforms if it happens, and just keep trying my best to share my journey and help people by sharing my journey. So I feel like I don't have like a set goal of like what job I want to be doing, besides what I'm doing right now, and just doing it on a bigger scale and just all of that. But like, it's so hard because like nothing is set in stone and nothing is promised or guaranteed. So it's really hard, and I try to just kind of take it day by day, because it's hard to not know what the future holds. So I try to find peace in not knowing and kind of just going with the flow of things. So I haven't really like had these set crazy goals for like where I see myself in 10 years, because nothing that I expected to happen happened, and everything has changed. Like, everything that I thought I would be doing is different. So it's just like really hard for me to have these goals and have these expectations when I know life throws curveballs and things happen and nothing really plays out how you expected it to. So I kind of try to stay away from having like really set in stone plans. So that was a really long-winded answer, but yeah. What are your top places to shop for clothing? I feel like it changes, but currently I would say, okay, Forever 21 is always a go-to, always, no matter what. And then I've been loving Missguided. I've been ordering a lot from there. Pretty Little Thing. They're kind of similar to Missguided. I feel like those are kind of like my go-to because they're also on the cheaper side or more like affordable side. I would say those are my top at the moment. What advice would you give to someone who works out but needs an extra push to cut? So questions like this really are hard for me to answer because like no one is in control except for you. So if you want to cut, like, do it. If you have to put in like extra effort and extra work to reach a certain physique goal, like, you're the only one that can do that. So there's no advice to give besides like, if that's something you want to do, you have to just do it because no one's going to be able to do it for you. People can give advice on the method of going about cutting, but if you need the extra push, no one else can give you that extra push. Like, you have to be the one that you put in your mind, this is what I want to do, and you have to execute and just do it. It's really hard for me to like give advice on that because you're the only person in control of your life and you're the only person who can go out and do the things that you want. So it has to be from within, and you have to really just dedicate yourself and execute on the things that you need to execute on to get you to where you want to be. If you want to be leaner, if you want to be more cut, then you have to clean up your diet, you have to add in that extra cardio, you have to just like go the extra mile and do the extra work, say no to food and all of that. It's not easy, but you're the only one that can do it. So I can't really give advice on pushing you. The only advice I can give is just if that's what you want, you have to just commit to it and just put in the work to do it because you're the only one that can achieve that. Now that you lived in Colorado a while, what is your favorite part about it? This is gonna sound really strange, and I feel like every time I say it, I'm like, this just sounds so bizarre, but I'm from New York originally and lived in California for 2 years, and we lived in Orange County, California, so it was a very nice area. And it was almost too perfect. Like, the weather was too perfect. There was never garbage on the streets. Everything was like perfect, pristine, clean everywhere. And it almost like didn't feel like real life, if that makes sense. And coming from New York, like, there's trash on the street, there's seasons, there's dead grass, there's all of that. And like, California was just like some dream world. And I feel like it just feels more like home here, and it just feels more real. And I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But that's just kind of like, I feel more home here. And other than that, there's really good like food and more like boutique-y style restaurants. Like, there's a lot of cute, cool food places, and also like the mountains. I'm obsessed. Mountains are like my favorite thing. And from like hiking to snowboarding to like, there's hot springs. There's just so much beautiful like outdoor things that New York definitely didn't offer. And California, I mean, you can only get like part of the beauty. So this, you can kind of get all aspects of the outdoor beauty side of it. So I think those are probably my favorite things. When will there be another merch release? So I really want to do October. I'm trying to figure out what pieces I want to drop, and also I'm still waiting on like sample revisions, so I have to make sure that those are good before I give the go ahead, but I'm really aiming for October. I'm really excited about it, actually. What's something you keep private from social media? No detail, just a broad question. When I read this, I was kind of like, it's scary because there's really not much that I keep from social media. I would say maybe the main thing would be, and I'm very open, but when I am in a bad headspace, sometimes I just pull back and I don't share anything. I'll come out afterwards and like talk about it, and I'll be somewhat open, but it's really hard to go like in detail on the thoughts that I'm having and all of that. So I feel like a lot of my bad mental health stuff I don't really share. And like I said, I am open, but I'm not insanely open about it. I feel like, to me, I need to just kind of keep to myself and just go through it in my own self alone and all of that, instead of trying to share it and put it into words. Sometimes I just turn off and I just don't share what I'm going through. So that, I guess, is kind of something I keep from social media. Another thing is I don't really share too much family stuff, but that's not really like because I don't want to. It's just like I don't really see my family often, and I don't really just have like much to share about my family. So that's another thing that like is not super talked about or like shown on my channel, but that's kind of just because I'm like not there. First of all, I love you. Secondly, favorite and least favorite things about reversing and prep. So favorite thing about reversing is probably just having more freedom, having more food, just being able to act a good normal human being, and be a little bit less strict. Least favorite things is probably I guess just the mental aspect of it. And I always go in knowing like I need to gain weight. Obviously it's going to happen and all of that, but every time it happens it's still hard to accept, I guess. So that's probably like the hardest part, but once you get past that, it's like, it's just amazing. And then favorite part about prep, probably the intensity of it. I really like when I'm in that zone, I really like the struggle. I really like being pushed. I really like those hard times and like working through them and having that self-confidence. Like I just got through a really hard time, and like it kind of builds you up mentally to kind of be like, I can do anything in this world that I want, because you work through those really hard times and those really hard days. So I feel like that's a really good thing I love about prep. And then least favorite thing is probably just like missing out on certain events, and just having to say no more often, and just like not having the best relationship with friends and like Anthony. Like things just kind of, you become kind of selfish and you just like don't feel your best, obviously. So sometimes you're just grumpy or you just don't really want to be socializing. So I feel like that's probably like my least favorite thing, but I try to avoid being that way as much as I possibly can. What are some of your favorite songs for lifting these days? That's a really good question. So I have a SoundCloud link that's always in my description box. I usually add to that pretty frequently, but other than that, let me try to find some that I've been really loving lately, and I'll just play like a snippet and I'll put it on the screen what it is. This is a bop.
Fuck you and you. That hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention.
When I'm trying to like PR or something, when I really need to like be in the zone, this is what I play, and I play this drop. It kind of makes me think of prep, and it kind of feels like a prep song to me. And then like usually I just like keep up on new songs, and then like I replay the shit out of them until I get bored of them, and then move on to new ones. Classic.
You got it, girl, you got it. You got it, girl, you got it.
You can never go wrong with Drake. And G-Eazy, Love.
I'm in London, got my beef from London. Off the triple, I've been trying to keep it civil, but it's a lot of shade that's getting thrown into the.
Also, I love Nate Rose, Justin Stone. I always put those in my videos because they're no copyright. Bless you guys for not copywriting my shit. And yeah, so those are kind of like my favorites right now. That's what I've been listening to for the past like couple days, couple weeks, and just like all similar stuff to that. Do you ever post-show binge? I really don't like the word binge. I feel like it just has such a negative connotation. Have I overate? Absolutely. Have I eaten to the point where I throw up? No. But I have absolutely like gone overboard. I mean, I think everyone has those moments, especially like the day of your show, like that night and the next day. Like you over prepare way too much with all the sweets. So like you kind of try to eat a little bit of everything, and it just ends up being way too much. So yeah, I definitely have overeaten after a show, and I definitely have gone overboard, but I wouldn't say like binged. I just don't like that word. But I haven't like gotten to the point where I made myself sick or anything like that. But yeah, I've definitely overeaten. How do you maintain motivation all the time? I'm gonna keep this short and sweet because this is like said across every single Fitspo social media platform. I think everyone in the entire world has said it at one point or another, and I definitely have as well. It's not motivation, it's about discipline. So I literally, especially now, I feel like I'm not in it right now. I feel like I just want to be doing other things and not lifting. Like the gym becomes a chore to me sometimes, and I hate when I get in that mode, but I just have to push through that, and then I get to like loving it again, and it's my passion. But I get in those zones where like I'm dreading going to the gym. So yeah, I do train a lot, and you know, I post workouts and I am this Fitspo online, but a good amount of the time I don't feel like training. I'll be too tired, I'll be like, oh, I just don't feel like going. But you're not going to make progress if you don't go, and I just know in my head I have these goals. I know this is what I need to do to achieve them, and I'm going to go even though I don't want to. It has to be about you being disciplined enough to get up and go and do the things that you don't want to do, and not about just feeling good and wanting to go all the time because you're so motivated, because that's just like not reality. What is the average lowest calorie amount people should go when cutting? This is not a question that can be answered because literally every single human body is going to be different. There is no threshold. I mean, of course, I see some people's macros and I'm like, that is extremely unhealthy and that's definitely too low. But like, who am I to really say maybe their body needs that to respond? Like personally, I wouldn't want to go down to that level. And if it came to that, I'd probably be like, all right, I'm not going to do it. So there's no like average calorie amount that is a generic number for everyone. So I can't really answer this question because it's not black and white. It's very different for everyone. And I can't really give you a set answer, but just kind of use your head. If something seems like it's too low, maybe don't do it, because maybe it'll work in the short term, but in the long term, you're just gonna set yourself up for a lot more trouble. Favorite free meal, and what's your preferred cardio during prep? Favorite free meal is probably sushi or burger and fries, and cardio, I love incline walking on the treadmill. I actually like enjoy that. Stairmaster, I despise. I really, really hate it. It hurts and it's the worst, but of course, like, it's kind of the most bang for your buck in my opinion, but also if you haul ass on an incline treadmill, you're still getting a killer session. What are the apps you use to edit photos and put text on your workout videos? So the text on the workout videos, and this goes for anything that has text on it, so my YouTube thumbnails, I use Canva. That's what I use to make my guides. That's what I use to make my emails. Everything that has text, I use Canva. And photo editing, I use Lightroom, and I bought this girl's presets. I paid kind of a lot of money for them, but I'm kind of sad to admit that, but it was worth it to me. Have you ever experienced feeling lost after competing? If so, how did you deal with it? Yeah, I feel like going like from being all in towards a certain goal and a certain time, and then that time is up and you reach that goal, you're kind of like, so now what? Like, what do I even do with myself? Because you were so living for that one thing, and now it's over and you're just kind of like, what do I even do with myself? But I feel like you just kind of have to shift your mental, and if like you're going into an off season, focus more on the goal of growing, of improving your metabolism, building food up, getting stronger in the gym, feeling better, feeling healthier, and being able to go out with friends more and all of that. Just like, I feel like just kind of finding a new goal, and not like an extreme goal, but shifting your focus to different things can be really helpful. And also just know that like your life is not competing, and like competing isn't the only thing about you, if that makes sense. Like I have a lot of different things that I love, and so to me competing is like one little aspect of that, and it's not my whole entire life, and I try my best not to make it my whole entire life for this exact reason. Is like, if competing ends, like I still want to be a human and I want to know who I am. And I don't want competing to just define me and be like, I am a competitor and that's all that I am, because one day that's gonna end and you're not going to like know who you are anymore, and you're gonna have a lot of like self-identity issues. That's just kind of like my personal opinion. So I feel like even if you take up other hobbies or something, just make yourself more like well-versed, and don't make competing your whole entire life, because like I said, when a show is over, like you're gonna be like, what now? And you're gonna feel lost, and you're gonna feel like the only reason that you're somebody is to compete, and that's just like very not good. How tall are you? I'm 5'2". How do you fight bad body image days? I honestly just kind of go through them. Like, I just know that it's temporary, and most of the time like it's in my head and I'm just being really hard on myself, and so I just kind of like let myself feel it and let myself work through it and wake up the next day and hopefully it's a better day. But just know that it's all temporary, and it's also self-inflicted. So you're the one who's controlling those emotions. So if you can find a way to kind of grasp it and be less hard on yourself, I know it's a lot easier said than done, and I'm still a bully to myself a lot of the times. Being able to grasp that and understand that it's self-inflicted and you can be in control of taking those emotions out of the picture, I feel like you can kind of start to slowly work on more like positive self-talk, not talking down on yourself or looking in the mirror and picking yourself apart. And just know that it's temporary. It's also changeable. Your body is something that you can change, and your mind is something that you can change. It's not like you're not stuck in this body or stuck in this day forever. So there's always an opportunity to change the way you feel, change the way you look. So obviously I'm not saying, like do crazy measures to make yourself look good and feel good all the time, but like just know that it's not ever permanent. It's all very temporary and also self-inflicted. So do what you can to look at yourself from an outside perspective instead of judging yourself as yourself, because we are really mean to ourselves. But other than that, I just kind of go through it. I just let myself go through it and know that, better days are coming. Okay, last one. Do you ever struggle with being lonely even in a relationship? So I thought this one was interesting because I actually don't. I'm really, really introverted. I'm really antisocial, and I actually love being alone. If I could sit at home or just kind of like be in my own world all day, every day, like it wouldn't bother me. So I'm just very okay with being alone, and I don't know really how to help someone accept being alone or not feel lonely, because like for me, I like my time alone. I like being by myself. Like Anthony, on the other hand, he counts as me being by myself. Like his company is so different from anyone else's that, like, to me, that still is, I feel comforted with that. But honestly, I would so much rather just sit home and watch a movie or watch Netflix rather than go out. Like, I could have no human interaction for a week and honestly be fine, which is actually kind of bad, and I need to work on it. But for the most part, being alone does not equal bad to me. I actually prefer it. This sounds so bad, but I don't know really how to give advice on this. Like I said, I'm very comfortable being alone, but I feel like I would just try to work on feeling comfortable with just being by yourself. Maybe like find a new hobby that just includes you, or find something new that interests you. Maybe like pick up a new book to read or something, and just kind of like be at peace with just being with yourself. And yeah, I don't really know, maybe just practice being alone more and kind of just getting more comfortable with it. That's kind of all I have. I don't really know, because I like being alone. I'm a loner and I really, really like being alone. But other than that, I really don't know. But if anyone else has ideas, comment down below, because I really hate when I can't help and give like advice on these questions. So comment down below if you have any answers. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Comment below with any other questions that you may have about my questions, and I will definitely touch on other questions that I got throughout upcoming videos and all of that. So anyways, I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.
People change too. Be careful what you wish. All my wishes came true. We know it.